Welcome to C2C News. Today we have Vishal Sahgal from China. Vishal, give us our viewers a brief background of what you do in China, for how long you've been there, and then we come to the two main questions cut to cut.
Okay, so hi Robin. I've been in China for 7.5 years now, and I am working for L'Oreal. So I'm based in the headquarters of L'Oreal for Asia Pacific, and I am responsible for human resources for Asia Pacific operations for L'Oreal. So it's been a long time, and I've seen when I came here to this country, there was rarity to see Indians in Shanghai. I'm based in Shanghai, by the way. But now, over the 7 years, I have seen that the Indian population has really grown up. So it's becoming like a real hotpot metropolitan city, a melting pot of different cultures, and a lot of Indians are here. So, good place.
So you feel at home being in China.
Home is always home, but
Right.
yeah, I mean, after having lived 7.5 years, speaking a little bit Chinese as well, started to feel a lot comfortable here.
Right. Okay, Vishal, the election is going on, and now we are in the final phase of the elections in India. So, what is the mood of NRIs in China?
So actually, most of the people I know, Indian community over here, majority of them are pro Modi because the general feeling is that Modi is trying to bring positive development in the country, and a lot of the positive moves have happened. So majority of people I know they are pro. Of course, it's a very funny thing to see that either you find people who are hardcore pro Modi or people who are completely against him. So it's funny. Sometimes you meet these kind of people as well. Personally, for me, I am me, and normally my friend circle, mostly people are in a positive side. There have been a lot of positive developments which we have seen as an NRI from an outside. I mean, we are not in the country, so we don't know what happens day to day. But generally, what we have seen, he has tried in the last 5 years to first of all set the fundamentals, the basic things right, like the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, which was brought out, electrifications of villages, giving bank accounts to poor people, bringing the subsidies directly in the bank. I think these are just basic fundamentals. Without fixing them, it is very difficult to put the big things in place. But at the same time, a lot of emphasis has been going in high tech, in aerospace, solar energy, investment in solar energy. So a lot of positive development happen at all levels. And this is what we realize, the NRIs, and generally we are in a consensus, and we hope that we will have Modi once again as the next as a PM for India.
Depending on how things shape up for the ruling party, be it through coalition or on their own, but definitely the sentiment in most of the circles, including media, the ones who oppose the present government and Modi in particular, they also feel Modi is going to be the PM for second term. So, having realized that fact, what are the expectation of NRIs from PM Modi in his second term?
Yeah, I think that on the first point, I would say that the projects what he has started, they should continue. Whether it's about Make in India, whether it's about giving more empowerment to women, electrification of villages, all the basic things, I think they should continue. There's one area which we generally will feel, and we talk a lot about it, is that there's indeed a feeling that there is a lot of discussion happening about communities and caste and Hindu and cow protection, etc., which sometimes gives a negative image outside. So there might be some good sense in doing it, but I think this Narendra Modi should probably try to improve his image in his second term into this area. And if he is able to do that, it will also help to bring a little bit of a peace in terms of politics in India, because most of the time the opposition parties, they attack BJP based on communalism. So maybe there's some truth in it. Maybe there's no truth. We don't know, sitting so far away. But I think if the focus purely goes on development and not about all this caste and communalism, this will be probably the biggest positive development, the way he's leading politics in India.
7 years in China is a long time, and you travel extensively across the globe because of your work assignment. The era before Modi and the era once Modi has taken charge as PM. What is the visible difference that you have seen in terms of being an Indian on foreign land?
I think the image of India has really improved in the last 5 years. Even in China, eh, the normal Chinese people, they know who Narendra Modi is. They don't know BJP. They don't know what happens typically in politics. But if you speak about Modi, I think most of the people know him, and he has really proved himself as a global statesman. His presence you can see everywhere. It's not only about China, but if you go in Northern America, or if you go in Europe, everybody knows him, and he is really one of the key factor for the image of India going up. So I hope that this will continue like this in the second term as well.
Okay, one last question, Vishal. Chalte chalte. After this, the elections are over and things are done and dusted up, is there any pending agenda from the NRIs? Like when I was speaking to one gentleman from Japan, one from Australia, one from Germany, so everybody had some kind of expectation. Like one person said from Australia that there's a lot of drainage of talent. So if somebody is willing to come back to India, or maybe the government of India can run a incentive scheme. I think Chinese government has some kind of scheme to get their talent back from foreign land. Another gentleman who is an NRI, he said that the buddy voting should start because they are not able to vote, and not all the NRIs are able to come to fly down to India for voting. And even if they wanted to, so many flights would not be available. So keeping those kind of expectations as NRI, do you have one single demand which you could just think of and say, hey, this is one demand I would like to make?
I think my demand, yes, there's one point that you already said. I would have loved to vote. I could not vote because it's not possible to go to the Indian consulate here and to cast your vote for India. So you have to travel all the way, and it sometime because of agenda is not possible on that particular day to be in. For me, it was Pune, so I just could not be because I was traveling at that time. But this is not my biggest. My biggest expectation as an NRI, as an Indian citizen, is that I think Narendra Modi has set up a very positive example of removing corruption at the top level. I think he is a very honest man. I really believe, and I think it's all BS that people claim that he has been working with Ambani's or whatever. I really don't believe. I think he's a very honest person. His key people who are working with him, I think they are also generally he's working with very honest people. But as you go down in the Indian bureaucracy or in Indian politics, I'm not sure if that honesty and the corruption has completely gone away. So if he can find a way to trickle it down, this honesty or this anti-corruption drive which is going on, where the common man can feel the difference, this would probably leapfrog India to the next generation. And probably this could also be one of the ways to get people back, because why people like me, once they leave India, they tend to work outside, because you tend to get used to working in a relatively honest environment, in avoiding corruption on a day-to-day life. You don't have to bribe people for small things and all. So this is one thing. If it could improve at the lower level, at the basic level in India, I think this would be a very positive step for taking this country forward.
Right. See, without taking sides, so like something which is there on record and tangible thing, I think the first 5 years, the government has already set the ball rolling in terms of converting everything into digital format, online format. So, like a basic thing like applying for a driving license. Now you can apply for a driving license online. There is no agents ka chakkar or some form ke saath you have to please somebody. All those things don't exist. Uh, Likewise, all the state government and at तालुका level कुछ ना कुछ हर चीज डिजिटल इंडिया के अंदर उसको जो है ऑनलाइन में कन्वर्ट कर ही दिया है. The things which are pending or maybe they have some kind of loophole, I'm sure in the second term they would be attended to. One important thing which has happened over the years is last 5 years. PAN card, Aadhaar card, though there was some resistance of linking the Aadhaar card, but there are a lot of schools where once the Aadhaar card was linked with midday meal, lakhs of fake students profile were deleted. So that is how the government has saved revenue. So, the more and more people will get into online mode, the less of bureaucracy, less of corruption, and I'm sure 100% change has not happened. But whatever has happened, people like me and you sitting there, like we have seen the difference. But yes, the road is long to be covered, and I'm
Yeah,
sure.
we are definitely positively looking forward to that. I know that you cannot change a country in 5 years from where it was and where it is today or where we want it to be. We just hope that that the positive changes which are happening will continue.
Correct.
And I personally really hope that Narendra Modi is going to be back in power and hopefully with full majority. I think it's very good for the stability of the country and for the long term progress.
So, Vishal, thanks a ton for sparing time for us. In our next session, we will focus, exclusively on the business dealing between India and China because there are a lot of imbalance, which people say, between the trade that we have, and the reality is there are a lot of things which people in India and the trade they bank on China.
Hmm.
So we'll explore those things at surface level, and we'll see like what are the wisdom points that you can share with people back home because to have anonymity is one thing, and to face reality is different. So
Hmm.
we'll discuss on those lines, and your input would be really good from 2 points. One from two angles. One, you are heading an important function in China for a large corporate. And second is you come from a HR background. So under basic understanding of human behavior would be much higher compared to the people that we would have being in different functions.
Hmm. Sure, sure. I would love to that. And I think you said something very interesting. You spoke about enmity. I think when you are in India, you read and we talk much more anti-China compared to when you are in China and you don't get to hear, you get to read anything about India in a negative way. I think I read in the Chinese media or when I talk to, I have a lot of Chinese friends and I work in an organization where 70% of people working are Chinese. Mostly we are speaking positive things or reading positive things about India. There's not so much of enmity that you see when you are within this country, and I think we have to probably look into ourselves why in India we speak so much about anti-China over it. Yes, of course, there are political points where maybe the governments may not be aligned, but that's politics. I think we should not mix politics from day to day life over it. And maybe next time we can speak a little bit more about the daily life in China and how we see as Indian living here over here compared to when you are in India and you're speaking about China. I think it's an interesting topic to talk.
Sure, Vishal.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you so much, Vishal. And we'll come back to you soon, probably next week if
Okay.
the schedule allows.
Okay. Good. Thank you.